and then in coming sessions on schema, right? So what is that we are left out is probably 3 hours of session on schema, on which we'll just cover up the transformations today. And if you feel you have enough time, and then we'll just see on the hierarchies. If not, we'll stop at transformations. Post which we'll have say close to 1.5 hours. So transformations say 1 hour, then hierarchies a half an hour, and then 1.5 hours of session on attributes and then facts, different types of attributes, different types of facts, and so on. So 3 hours. So today we shall see till transformations, or we'll start with hierarchies, and post which we'll discuss at the end, right? So to start with, right, so these transformations we discussed, basically what is the point of using transformations is, so transformation helps in what, like say using transformations, what we do basically is, so we do time series analysis. So what is the transformations helps us basically is, it is help us in performing the time series analysis. So that is basically, so you want to say compare your, say for example, current sales versus like say a previous, so current instead of sales, right? I want to put like current metrics or measures you want to compare with your previous, with your previous period, previous metrics or measures. So previous metrics means the measure is not different. Say previous, I say time frame. So here like your current time frame, and then that is your previous time frame. So the same metric you want to compare it current versus the previous, right? So in that particular case, so what we do is we make use of a transformations. For an example, what are they? Some of them means, say for example, you want to compare your current month, say for example, sales versus, say you want to compare the previous month sales. And a similar lines, say you want to for example, you want to compare your, say for example, current quarter profit versus, say for example, previous quarter profit. And similarly, current year, say for example, sales versus previous year sales, previous year, or it might be 2 years ago, whatever it is. So whenever you want to analyze your current time frame, right, current time frame measures with the previous time frame measures, right? So for which what we do is we go for transformations. We go for transformations, and to perform these transformations or to create up this transformation, the transformations are classified into two types. The transformations are classified into two types. So what are they? Basic elements under the transformations, we'll have the first one, right? So which is called, say, column based, or we can say this one as a table based transformation, column based or table based transformation. And the second one is expression based transformation. So the transformations are classified into two types. So one is a column based or table based transformation, and the other one is a expression based transformation. So now what is column based or table based, or what is expression based transformation? We'll get there actually. So now how to create a transformation, we'll see it. And while creating a transformation, I'll tell you what is this column based or table based, or what is an expression based. But once you create the transformation, be it column based or expression based, the way you use them is same. So once you create a transformation, assume that you create a transformation. So what is that navigation means? So once a transformation is created, so once assume that you have created it, so where you use it, you don't use directly on the report. So instead use that in a metric, and that specific metric you are going to use on the report. You are going to use on the report. So this is how. So you create a transformation, and that transformation has to be used on a metric, and that metric will be used on the report. So we'll take some examples and just create them. Okay, so now already we have some say predefined transformations here. I'm just trying to create a new folder for, like, say a demo. So you want to create up certain transformation, so just do it. So here, how to create that transformations and so on, we'll just try to see. So it is very simple, like in the schema, right? So one simplest object is transformation. So try to focus. So just right click, go for new. Under this, it shows up various different objects here, and out of which, so just go and select that particular transformation. So it opens up the transformation editor. So once it opens up the transformation editor, so you need to choose, okay, on which attribute you need to create a transformation. So whether you want to perform year-wise analysis, quarter-wise analysis, month-wise, day-wise, and so on. So based on what type of analysis you need to do, right? So you need to choose that particular attribute. Say for example, initially I want to do on a year assume. So just go to time, then select this time and select your attribute. Select your attribute as year, click OK. So once you do select that attribute, then here it shows up all the list of the tables, which has year ID in it, So from this particular list of tables, so I'm just going to choose the parent table or the main table. So year, so from the name itself, right? Year means, so the parent table, the description part will be LU underscore year. So I just get to that LU underscore year. So once I get into LU underscore year table, so if you look at this table here, I have something called year ID, and then if you look at this one, I do have a column called as previous year ID. I do have a column called previous year ID. So if you go to the backend and open this particular table in your Microsoft Access database, so what you see is if your current year is 2017, so you'll have a 2016 value in the previous year ID. Similarly, 2014 means 2013. So you have 2012 means 2011 data will be there. So year ID means current year it will contain, and previous year ID means year ID minus 1. Year ID minus 1. So I'm just selecting this one, previous year ID. Just I click OK, and then simple, that's it. So once you select it, so this previous year ID is created on what? On the year column. So from which table we have created? LU underscore year. That's it. So simply save and close. This is how you create a simple transformation, or like column based transformation. So here I'm just telling, okay, previous year ID. So I've just provided a name as previous year ID. I've created it. So once we create it, the way you use, right? So already we have seen it. So again, once again, we'll see that one, how to use it. So I'm just getting into, say, metrics, say under that, I'm just choosing up a demo one, then right click here, then go for new metric, and then just select this OK. And from this specific thing, right? So just select your profit, revenue, whatever you want, select it. And if you look at this particular metric currently, so in this particular metric, I'm not providing any transformation. If you look at here, the transformation equal to nothing. So I'm not providing any transformation here. So I've just provided here sum of profit. That's it. Then click on save and close. So once you do that, save and close, so just save this. Okay, so this is my profit, and then click on save. Right. So now this particular transformation, as I haven't defined any transformation here, right? So what this particular profit is going to give me, right? So this profit is going to give me data for my current year. It is going to give data for my current year. So whenever you place this on a report and run it, as you don't have any transformation, it is going to give you for the current year. So the same thing, if at all you want to create it for a previous year, right? Then how do you do it? Basically is, so just to go to, say for example, just right click and then just paste this one. Right. So what is the difference I'm doing to this basically is to this metric. So just open it, and once I open it, I get into transformation, and in transformation the demo one, whichever I've created, the previous year ID, and just select this one. That's it. So now if you look at this definition over here, it calculates sum of profit, but it doesn't bring data for current year. Instead it brings data for the previous year ID. So just once you select that, right, so just save this one. So once you do it, so just rename it accordingly. So what is this transformation now? So as we have used or included the previous year, right? So just try to add that one, previous year, and then no. So just try to have it. So now you have a current year, then you do have a previous year transformation. So once it is done, say for example, you can create up a report. Say for example, right click, go to new report. But one thing is, on whatever object you created, right? So that object has to be present on the report, or it has to be part of an aggregation. So what does that mean is, so mandatorily you need to place year, and next to year you want category, whatever you want you can just place it. So I don't want any as such, so I just place up my current year and then my previous year. So I just run this one. So current year profit minus previous year profit. So once I do execute, so I show, I mean it shows up, okay, this is the 2011 one and this is 2010. And if you look at 2012, this is the current year for 2012 and this is for the previous year. This is for the previous year. Okay, fine. So now basically, right, so for 2010, so you have data for 2010. This is a 2010. So you might be thinking, okay, I need to get one more column basically. Say for example, so you need to get one more column just below that. So what it shows basically is 2010, the current year data, and then for the past year, right, it should show as null. So but by default in MicroStrategy, like between two matrices, right, it is going to perform inner join. It is going to perform the inner join. What does that mean is, say if it has data in both the matrices, then only it is going to bring the data. Otherwise it is not going to bring the data. So if it has data in like metric 1, if it has data in metric 2, then only it is going to bring data onto the report. For 2010, we don't have data for 2009, hence it is not bringing, hence it is not bringing. So if you look at this specific report here, so 2011, I have current and then previous, similar lines, say for example, current and then the previous one. Okay, so this is how you create up a transformation report. So now say for example, now one simple question basically. So as we have created this particular thing, right? So one simple question. So on the same report, I want to see year, previous year. So once we have this particular report, right? So you can just create a profit percentage growth as we have discussed during our metrics. So you have current year, previous year, right? Current year minus previous year by previous year into 100 gives you the profit percentage growth from current year to last year. Right. So this particular things, if you refer your metrics when you understand it, but now in the same row, so in the same row, how I am saying current year, previous year, I want here one more column or one more metric which shows me 2 years ago, which shows me what? 2 years ago. So in order to create that 2 years ago transformation, so I just go to my transformation. So just right click and then go for new, and within that specific thing, open up your transformation editor. In the transformation editor, so just go to time and then select your year. So once you select your year, so from this particular drop down list, LU year, and then select for an example, year ID. Year ID means current year. Previous means year ID minus 1. But do you have any column directly which shows previous year ID? So if you open any other table also, you find only year ID. You don't find even previous year ID as well. I open this, you find year ID. And then you open any other table, you find only year ID except LU year where it has a previous year ID. So now, is there any column in LU underscore table which shows you previous to previous year ID, or you don't have that? Again, say we don't type, guys. Just if you have anything, just unmute yourself and talk.
Uh, can we use previous year ID twice?
So if you use this previous year ID, then it will be a invalid expression.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like last year to last year.
Right.
So it's not a proper logic then.
So we don't have any previous year IDs.
Okay, so when you don't have directly a column, right? So in which you need to write up a small expression. So when you don't have directly a column, you need to write up a expression. So now in the first example, what we have done is we have used directly a column in the table. So we just took that previous year ID column. That, I mean, when you create a transformation like that, right? If you directly have a column and then you create it, that type of transformation is called column based, or you can also refer as a table based transformation. But when you don't have directly a column based or table based transformation, what you do is you write a simple expression. So when you write a simple expression, then it is called expression based transformation. It is called expression based transformation. And to create that expression based transformation, right? So how we can get that 2 years ago? So using these columns, so what is that we need to write in order to get 2 years ago transformation? So if I mean current year is 2017, I want to go back to 2015, right? Then what we do?
Previous year minus 1.
Previous year minus 1, or if I take current year, then what should be the formula?
Minus 2.
Minus 2. So you write a simple expression like previous year ID minus 1 or year ID minus 1. So however, I mean, whatever you want to take, both the cases it is right. So just select that one and then click on minus and then simply write 2. That's it. So once you do it, so it is going to take this as current year value, then it is going to take this as minus 2. So if you take this previous year ID, it should be minus 1. So here you're not directly using a column. Instead what you are doing is you're taking that column and also you're writing some small expression that is minus 1, minus 2. So whenever you create a transformation like this, then it is called as expression based transformation. It is called as a expression based transformation. So just save this, and once you do it, so this is, say for example, 2 years ago. So once you create this transformation, the way you apply same, only while creating, use a column or directly use a column, or you take that column and write a expression. So based on how you define it, you call that one either as a column based, table based, or else you call that as an expression based transformation. So once you do it, very simple. So the way you apply is again remains the same. So as we have created now, right, on a similar lines, I just go there, right click, go for new. So metric. So we have created on profit, right? So the same thing, you can select profit, but in transformation, what I am doing is instead of previous year ID, I select 2 years ago. The way after you create transformation is same. So this is, say for example, profit 2 years ago transformation. So once you create it, right, perfect. So you just go to your report and then just get to your metrics, demo metrics, and then profit 2 years ago and run your report. So basically, if you look at this one, it is showing up an error. What is the reason it is showing up error basically is after creating the schema, did we update? Basically we have created a schema object like previous year ID, and I mean say 2 years ago previous year ID, and we have created metric, but we haven't updated our schema. So what is that you need to do is, so you need to update your schema. So once I've done my updation of schema, I just execute my report. So if you look at this one, okay, this is how your current year, previous year, and 2 years ago. So now if you look, only one row you are getting. The other you don't get basically is for 2011, 2011 will be current, 2010 will be previous, but 2 years ago will become 2009, for which it doesn't have data. So as it doesn't have data for one metric, the entire row will not be displayed. But say for example you want to display in such scenario as well, that we'll see in a coming session how to establish a, between two metrics outer join also you can establish. How to do that we'll see in a coming session. But as of now, so just try to, our main concentration is, so this particular transformation whatever you have created, you have directly used a column. And for creating this transformation, you have to write a small expression using a existing column. So based on how we define a transformation, transformations are classified into two types. So one is column based or table based, and the other one is a expression based transformation. So clear till this point on the types. So when we call a transformation column based, table based, or when we call a transformation as an expression based, or any questions here?
No, I'm good. Yes.
Okay, so any other person, any question on transformation?
No.
Yeah, can we create transformations like MTD, YTD or something like that?
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah, we'll just discuss that MTD and QTD transformations. But so till now, like say transformation are used for performing time series analysis, and under transformations using that we compare like current one to a previous one, and then under that we have a column based and we have a expression based. When we call a metric as column based, and when we say when we say a transformation as column based, and when we say a transformation as expression based. And once you create a transformation, you cannot directly use on the report. Instead, you need to use on a metric and then place on a report. So till this, any questions? Are you good till this particular point? Then we'll see the next part of the metrics.
Yeah, clear.
Okay, fine. So we'll see on the say next part, which is say the whatever question asked, like whether we can create something called MTD transformation and so on. So what is that MTD transformation and so on basically, right? So first we'll try to understand by taking up an example as a report, and then we'll get from there. Say for example you just get to a new report, and in the report, say assume like say for example you have okay, so now I'm just placing up a say a day, and then say for example day wise what is my sales, and then say for example what is my profit. So once I do it, assume this particular report filter is created that it shows always say current month. So I create a filter to display a current month. So this particular filter, right? So I'm going to create a condition like always my report is going to show me my current month. So assuming that, so that is a dynamic filter. So fine. But as of now, to take an example, right, I'll just tell you, say for example, in a March, right? So we are on, say for example, 11th. So from first day till 11th, whenever I run my report, as it is March, this report should run for 11 days. When I run the report on 20th, the report has to run on, from 1st till 20. Whenever I run my report on 30th, from 1 till 30th. So I'm creating up a static filter here, but I want every one of you to do again, take an assignment and then tell me in my next session that how to create a, dynamic month filter. So there is a way you can create a dynamic, and in Google you have that answer as well. So basically I want you to search and then tell me. So whenever I run my report, always my report should run for my current month, because your end users, right? They will be, more interested in seeing the data for the current month. Agree everyone? So whenever they run it, they want to see for that month what is their particular day-wise sales and profit. Do you think that particular report will be useful for your users? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right, so it will be really useful, but what is that you need to find out your assignment for today is, so in the filter, you need to write up a condition which is going to display data for current month, Your system date it has to take, and then it has to run for the current month. Clear everyone? What is your assignment?
Yes, yeah, clear.
Okay, so now for an example, I'm just taking up a static, as tomorrow we'll work on your dynamic once you tell your assignment. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking now currently a static one. Static means I'm just hard coding for today's date. So say for example, I want from March 1st till today date, I want it. So now basically whenever I run my report, so what it shows basically is, okay, this report returns no data. So because we are running for the 2017 for which we don't have data. So what I'm doing is, so for 2010 or 2011, 12, for any 3 years you can run it. So I'm just taking an example as 2010. So just select this and then click on run. So once you run it, you see data for your say revenue, and then you see data for your profit and so on. So now basically what is the point here is, okay, this is my day 1 sales and profit, day 2 sales and profit, day 3, day 4 and so on. But say for example, my particular manager has provided me certain targets. Say by 10th, you need to have this much profit. By 20th, this much profit. By end of the month, your profit should reach this much. So this is what the target that is set. And basically what I want to do is I want to see my day-wise profit. Day-wise profit means on day 1, whatever profit I have achieved, that I have to have it. And on day 2, what is that I want is I want to combine these two, and then I need to have a total of this aggregated of day 1 and day 2. So when I move on to day 5, then I need to have all 5 days value summed up and then show here beside. And a similar lines, days 10, I want the 10 days value to be summed up and shown here basically. So I need to create here one more column which should show me my each day wise aggregation value. So on 11th, it has to aggregate till 11th. 20th, when I run this report, it has to show me report till 20th, what is my sales and what is my profit. Clear everyone? So what is the requirement?
Yes, sir.
Right. So in order to achieve that basically, right, so how do we create that, right? So just try to see here now. So that type of transformations are called month to date. Month to date means from starting of month till today, you need to sum, right? So those things are called month to date. There is something called quarter to date, year to date as well. So we'll just try to see. So this is what we have created, MTD. So how to create the transformation, we'll just see it. So in our transformation, you need to just right click, go for new. Within that, get to transformation, and in the transformation, right? So what is that I'm selecting is select a day. And once you select your day attribute, so again I'll show you this, just remember how to create it. So the logic behind it I will explain in your next session. So just go to your new object. What is that? Transformation object. And in the transformation object, just get to time. In the time, select day, and once you select day, open this drop down list. From this particular drop down list, so you'll have a table called as MTD, QTD and Y2D. So MTD means whatever month you're taking from that month starting till that day. Quarter to date means, say we are in, say for example March. Quarter to date means from the first day of January till March it is going to bring. From first day of January till March. But say for example if we are in May, assume. So May means that is a second quarter. So from April 1st till May 20, whatever date you have, that it is going to take in quarter to date. Year to date means when you are in May 20, then that year starting, that is from January 1st till May 20. So whether you want that entire year to be summed up, then you need to take this. Whether you want entire quarter to be summed up, you need to take this one. As per our requirement, we want to sum up month. So just select your MTD one, and in the MTD one, right? So you have something called day date and then say MTD underscore the day date. Say for example, so just select that day date, click OK. Right. So once you have done this, say for example, I'm just for example saving this, and we'll just come back here once again. So what I'm doing is I'm just creating this transformation as MTD for an example month to date assume. So once I do create, what I'm doing is I'm just getting to just right click metric profit and then profit here, and then what I'm doing is I'm just getting to transformation, and in transformation as I've choose the other one, now I'm just choosing this MTD and then just save this. So this I'm putting, so I've created on profit, so I just provide a profit MTD. Similarly we'll create one once we are fine with the result for the revenue as well, you can create it. So for an example, I'm just coming to this one, so just open this MTD report and go to metrics, demo metrics, and then basically, right, so profit MTD, so just try to place it, run your report. So again we forgot to update schema, so always we need to remember that. So once you create any schema object, you need to update your schema. I just save this report, just come over here, update your schema. So once you run your report, now if you look at this report here, so are you getting the correct details? Means you are not getting. So if you look at this one, the same value is getting repeated here also. Means, so there is some correction we need to do at the metric level or transformation level. So you have to do, some particular thing at the transformation level. So just look at this one, transformation mapping type, so which is defined as 1 to 1. Now I'm just making this one as many to many and just save this one, close this, and then I update my schema, and then let me try to once again execute my report. So just go over there and then just try to run your report now, mtd underscore transformation. So once you run now the report, now you could see the data is getting accumulated. Like say on a day one, you see day one profit. On the day two, you do both days. Day three, you sum up all the values actually. One second, I think. Till here it's correct, 736 9 7 16 1. Formatting values, let me enable decimal values as well.
Should be like 10,000 something.
For the second one,
Third one.
third one, yeah, let me, okay, 1 second. 9 plus 3907. 7026. I mean, if you look at here, I mean, the value is not correct. Fine. Let me do one thing. I think of so I mean creating report is not sufficient. So basically you need to do validation. That will be the main responsibility of you as a developer. So you develop something, then if it is correct or it is not correct, right? So you need to do certain validation. So now if you look at this report, now it makes I mean correct. So 3119, say for example, plus 3907. So you see 7026 plus, say on the third day 209, then you add up, say 9235. So with decimal values that comes up 9236. So now I say this value is correct actually. Similarly, we shall create for revenue MTD, and then we'll see again the process to create it. So you just go to your particular transformation again, so where you have created, so just go over there, just right click, go for new, and within that transformation, and then again what is that you need to select, day you need to select. So once you select a day, you open up, it shows up whether you want month to date, quarter to date, and year to date. For my example, month to date, and instead of day date, right? So you need to choose this one, month to date. So just select this month to date, click OK. Once you do it, so you need to choose a many to many relationship. So why many to many means from month to date, I'll show you that in the table. So just save this one, and this particular thing is again month to date, and so we created this, say for example, assume revenue. So just save this, and we shall use this on the report. So the same thing you can use it, but again I've created it one more time so that you see how did we create it. So just go there, right click. So before that I'll ensure that I update my schema. So just update your schema, then go back, right click, then create up another metric, say metric, click OK. So your revenue, and then go to transformation, under the transformation, demo transformation, and MTD revenue. Just save this. So this is my revenue month to date. Save it. So once you do it, just try to apply on the report. So just go to metrics, demo metrics, and then a revenue MTD. Okay, so now if you look at the revenue MTD also, it is going to sum up correctly for all the days. So this is how you can track your month wise, or like sales, and then say profit, what is the target set, where you are, and so on basically. And similarly you can just do it for quarter to date and so on basically. But now the question here is how your, whenever we are on second date, right, how it is getting summed up means on the day 2. If you look on the day 2, these two values are getting summed. On the 10th day, all the values are getting summed up, right? So how this, as per our concept, as per MSTR, whatever we are creating is very straightforward. You're just trying to take a column, and then based on that it is creating the transformation here, and it is summing up simply. But the main logic lies in the backend table. It lies in the backend table. Okay, what is that logic on which it is getting aggregated or it is getting summed up basically means, so you just go to, say for example, my computer, and then I'm just trying to open up say MicroStrategy. So from which table we have created, that means mtd underscore day. So I just try to open that particular table. So this is what the table which has a logic for that particular aggregation. So I just sort however you want to sort, you can just sort it, right? We took 2010 as an example, right? So in 2010 we took March an example, right? So I'm just getting to March month. How that values are added, just I'll show you. So if you look at this particular table here, so I'm just getting into say March 1st and March 2nd, and then we'll just try to understand here. So if you look at the March 1st, right? So this is what say March 1st 2010, and if you look at this one in mtd underscore day date, you have only one column, that is March 1st 2010. But when you move on to the March 2nd, right? So this is the March 2nd. On March 2nd, what it is doing is it is containing the value as March 1st, and it is containing a March 2nd. And on March 3rd, basically it is having 1st, 2nd and 3rd. So basically how the grouping is happening is, the grouping is happening on the day basis. So for example, on the first day when it is grouping, right, data, it groups up the first value. On the day 2, it groups on the March 2nd, and March 2nd has how many values? Two values, first and second. Then on March 3rd, it has three occurrences for the date which has three values. Similarly, when we went on to the 11th one, right, so it has all the values from 1st of March till 11th of March. Hence it is going to add all that particular dates. It is going to add all that particular days in order to give the value. So you just the table creation will be there at backend. So on based on this, say for example you go for 5th, so 5th gets repeated 5 times, 6th get repeated 6 times, 7 get repeated 7 times, and so on. So this is how the logic will be there at the backend, on which you just, what you do is you make use of this column mtd underscore day date to create the transformation. And why there is a many to many relationship means, basically if you look at first date, it's fine. Second date, if you look at this one, so the second date again has here 1 and then 2. So here between your day date to your month to date, there is a many to many relationship. Hence, while creating that transformation, right? So what we have done basically is the relationship type we have defined as many to many. So if you go to your say transformation object, in the transformation object, you can see that. So you just go over there. So whatever transformation you have created, so you need to choose this one, a many to many, and during creation of transformation we need to choose mtd underscore date, month to date. Okay, so this is what you require on the transformation basically. So they'll ask you transformation mostly in an interview, like what is transformation, so what are different types of transformation, and possibly they may ask you, so did you work on creation of mtd transformation as such. That's all you can expect on the transformations. So any questions on transformation? If not, we can just try to understand some theory part about the other objects.
Clear, sir.
Okay, fine. So you have some time, guys, everyone, like at least for 15 minutes or something. Hello, అందరికీ 15 minutes time ఉందా లేకుంటే you want me to end here?
I don't mind, Srinivas. Anything is fine,
Okay,
depending upon everyone.
so about others.
I'm also okay.
Continue, sir.
Okay. Okay, so basically, so the other three concepts which we are pending in is in the schema objects is these three: attributes, facts, and then hierarchies. So already you have created these attributes, facts, and hierarchies using the architect editor. So if you remember, you went into architect editor, you have right clicked on say column, then create fact, then create attribute, and create attribute form. But and then you went into the hierarchical view, and then in the hierarchical view we were trying to establish the relationship, like parent-child relationship you are trying to establish. So the same thing basically, all right, so whatever you have created using that architect GUI, so basically what you have is you do have a attribute editor, and then say a fact editor, and then a hierarchy editor as well. So if you just right click, then go for new, you find a attribute, you find fact, and then you have a hierarchy. So now basically, so this particular editor, using that editor also, you create this particular things: attributes, facts, and hierarchy. So basically while creating an attribute, or like say while creating a fact, so hierarchies, right? So when we say hierarchy, you went into hierarchical view, you just dragged an arrow and automatically the system has defined the relationship one to many and so on. So now once that relationship is done, right? So what it does basically is that hierarchy will help in drilling and browsing. As I said, you first aggregation, then it controls drilling and browsing. But say for example, you want to control that particular browsing and drilling. So you are going to create what means you are going to create a user defined hierarchies. So you are going to define user defined hierarchies. So, and whatever hierarchies you are creating now, right? So that becomes a system defined hierarchies. So then, so you do have two different types of hierarchies, and then we need to understand. So what is the difference that exists between each one of them? Okay, so what is the reason? Even though we have system hierarchy, then what is the purpose of user defined hierarchies? That we need to understand in the hierarchies concept. And then under facts, so based on how you define a facts, just now you created a transformation, right? So the transformation you created, or I mean, has a simple, simple, you directly used a column to create a transformation, or else you have written some expression. So for this too also, to create a fact or to create an attribute, right? So what you do is you make use of a simple, or else you make use of a derived expression. So to create a fact or to create an attribute also, you make use of a simple or a derived expression. So what is this particular simple, or what is that particular derived, right? So what is that means? So if you directly use a column, a single simple column to create, it is called as a simple expression. And whenever you use some column, like say for example last name plus first name, or else say for example you do have say small say for example in your table, right? There is something called order date table, order date column, sorry, and then there is something called ship date. And basically what you want is, so you want to find out how many days it is taking for an item to ship, how many days it is taking for an item to ship. So you want to calculate some particular thing called days to ship. So you need to calculate this. And so in order to calculate this day to ship, right? So how do you calculate this one?
Ship date minus order date.
Ship date minus order date will give you the days to ship. Hmm?
Yes, sir.
So every other person same?
Yes.
Right. So basically it is on the day which it has shipped minus the order date. Right. So this is the whatever date you have placed your order. Okay. So at times what you need to do is you need to write a expression, like say the same thing, ship date minus order date in an expression. Similar to that, you need to write some expressions to create up a fact. So that is called as a derived expression. So then say you do have under say creation of attributes or facts, again you will have simple and then derived. So we have to see an example how to create a simple and then how to create up a derived expression. And apart from creating this, the other things we need to learn there basically is, so under attributes and then under facts, again, right, there are types. So you know, to create up a attribute, to create up a fact, based on how do you define them, they are again classified. So when it is comes to facts, so you have under facts there are two types. So one is homogeneous and the other one is a heterogeneous fact. And similarly under the attributes again there are two types. So one is homogeneous and the other one is a heterogeneous, same thing, but there will be one extra thing here. So there will be something called compound attribute. There will be a compound attribute. So attributes are classified into three types: homogeneous, heterogeneous, and compound attribute. And facts are classified into two types. One is homogeneous and the other one is heterogeneous. So these are the types, the types of attributes and types of facts. But if you understand here, so there are two things like homogeneous and heterogeneous are common. So once you understand this, right, so as good as, you do on a fact, then it is called homogeneous fact. You do on a attribute, it is called this fact. So once you understand these two concepts, as good as you understand this. And there is another thing called compound. So this particular compound means, so basically, so there is again one more assignment for you, because to understand this compound, right, so you need to know at the database there will be a key called as composite key. So I want you to search in Google what is composite key and then tell me to, in our next thing. So what is composite key I wanted, and then what is the other thing I've given is, what is the other assignment I've given today? How to create a
Dynamic
dynamic month filter.
month filter.
Right. So how to create a dynamic month filter, and the other one is a this specific, what is a composite keys at the database level. Because once you know composite key, then it as good as you'll know how to create a compound attribute. And yeah, on the theory that's it. And say probably in a close to 1.5 hours, right? So we can just complete up our schema stuff. So and tomorrow, like there, right? So in India, so you are good to come tomorrow, or you take a holiday for Holi. What is that plan? Guys in classroom.
No problem tomorrow. Continue the class.
Okay, so you want to continue the class tomorrow. Fine, perfect, good. So
Yes.
yeah, so in that particular case, tomorrow we'll just try to complete up attribute types and then fact types. So, but before you come, take this as your first assignment. What is a composite key? And once you're done with composite key, it is very straightforward. In a 10 minutes, you'll find out answer. Then try to find out on the dynamic date, right? So in that particular case, tomorrow we'll just try to complete up the attributes types and then the fact types. So this part will be completing tomorrow. And then so on day after tomorrow, that is our Monday here, guys, we'll be just completing up the schema part. And once we are done with the schema part, then we'll start with the dashboards. On the same day, we'll start with the introduction of dashboards, like why we use dashboards and so on. Right, but now the thing is